Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with Cuban pianist, composer, and educator Rafael Zaldivar. He talked about his newest 2022 CD called Rumba that combines the holistic vibe and rhythmic circularity of the Afro-Cuban music with a jazz sound. His spirituality shines on this album, opening new doors to an endlessly expressive musical universe. Rumba refers to the social gatherings of the black community in Havana, Cuba. At the beginning of the 20th century, these groups met to celebrate and praise the deceased in ceremonies full of song and dance. It's a part of their wonderful culture. And it's full of great artists like Terri Lyne Carrington, Rosenwinkel, Miguel Zenón, Ingrid Jensen, and so many others. Enjoy this very insightful interview.
Thanks for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz today, man. I appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. Yeah.
My first question to you is, for the world of musicians, COVID was really hard. How did you survive COVID, and how did you change as a result of it?
Well, basically, I had the chance. To have a full-time job at Laval University in Quebec City. I'm a full-time professor. And I got a tenure-track position on 2018, but I started working at Laval University in 2012. So in my case, I have a teaching job which paid me a salary through the whole year. So I didn't have to really worry about the financial side. But regarding the performance practice side, yes, I got I got like silences. I got in my studio. I didn't have a chance to play, so club closed and concert hall closed, and also a couple of concerts that I had to to cancel that. So basically, this COVID time helped me to rethink my space, my studio. So I got the chance to, even though I didn't have a chance to play that often at that time, but I had a chance to rethink my space and, the tools that I have to record. Also, the way that I wanted my little studio to be sounding with my piano. And I had the chance to, to go more inside my performance idea and philosophy as a musician, to practice even more, to be more focused on my instrument, play and practice even more daily, and especially to be able to organize my philosophy, my performance, my creation, and also my next artistic project, basically. So that was a really important period for me to rethink my whole agenda. And I guess it was hard for everyone and for everyone down there,
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, but it has to feel good to have a new album, Rumba, coming out. How does this release feel, and with the prospects of being able to perform live to promote it?
Yeah, well, basically, Rumba is a calling from that period, from the COVID period that I unfortunately we all had to pass through. So I say to me, myself, I need to do something that is going to be changing the situation, changing that period at the time. So Rumba means basically that we're getting to get together to perform together because Rumba is about social interaction, it's about social exchange, performing, changes values through performance, and especially through Afro-Cuban rhythms. So that's why I wanted to do an album, and I call it Rumba, because I wanted to change that kind of perspective that we have to pass through during the COVID time. And I had the chance to perform with a lot of most of my mentors and great friends from Canada, from the U.S. I have 4 special guests. Terri Lyne Carrington on drums. She's a tremendous artist, internationally well-known artist. And I have Miguel Zenón on saxophone, Rosenwinkel on guitar, really well-known, now living in Germany. And I have Ingrid Jensen. Ingrid Jensen, she's now the dean at the music faculty at Manhattan School of Music. And finally, I have a Latin Grammy winner, Amado de Deo Garcia, on percussions and also singing. So the CD is going to be released on September 16, tomorrow. Basically, it's going to be officially on Naxos for Canada, Effendi Records, Company Online, iTunes, all the social medias that we know.
Wow, what a lineup you got on there! That had to be incredible to get in with all of those minds and talents into one room.
Absolutely. That was a great, that was great putting together ideas and also exchanging, but learning process through the writing pieces for these people. So yeah, they all had a strong sound, and they bring that kind of personality to the entire performance. So it's a great, it's a strong work, in my opinion. It's the first time that I had a chance to do a work with so many artists, but also with so many colors, and also with trying to perform that kind of Afro-Cuban jazz in a different way with all these people.
I love the optimism and the creativity that comes out of Cuba. It's always so refreshing to talk to cats like you, and I'm curious about your upbringing and how jazz became your focal point, your passion in life.
Well, jazz, I understand jazz in the same way that Afro-Americans understand that. So jazz more than the musical style or a standard piece or a way of performing instruments. Jazz is also about, it's a way of living, it's a way of life. It's also about, knowing yourself and being able to express what you're expecting for you and for your culture too, for your people. So I wanted to recreate that kind of circularity with Afro-Cuban rhythms, but also I wanted to span harmony and scales, but also harmonic progressions and melodic interactions and harmonic movement. I wanted to span that by using rhythms and, putting rhythm for the front, but also recreating a new way to restructure harmony motions. I had influences from jazz roots like blues, black work songs, church songs, gospel, bebop language, but I also have influences from my Cuban background, which is son, rumba, the Yoruban, and the Arara, the Congo, the Carabali, all these repertoire, all this way of performing or expressing themselves. I use them, in a way that I can't revisit the past with a contemporary view. Also using mathematics, also using science like philosophy, trying to interpret an image into the music. It's a kind of go and forward, using elasticity with my contemporary view of today, which is basically how I perceive the future, basically, by restructuring things from the past.
So what are you ultimately hoping the listener gets from this album?
Well, I hope that they can enjoy, first of all, the energy, the big energy that we bring through the performance in general. Also, that they can catch, the different mind states of the pieces. That they can also appreciate the interaction that rhythmic circularity brings through the whole album too. But most important, that they can really think about the word rumba, because in this society today, we're trying to make people to be more and more individual. Individuality is in the middle, in the center of the society today. So I hope that they can just reflect about the word rumba, and you can change or contribute to build a more interaction, more cultural interchange between cultures, and be more open also to influences around the world.
So why do you love jazz?
Well, I love jazz because when I started performing jazz, I was 12 years old, and the first thing that I felt at the time was the freedom that these artistic way of expressing, improvising was given to me at that time. I started improvising some Latin lines at the piano, Cuban lines. I remember that I was performing pieces from Ruben Gonzalez at the time, from Chucho Valdés, the legendary musician Chucho Valdés, and also by Frank Emilio Flynn. Those were my influences at that time. And when I started performing their lines and their solos, I tried to perform my own way, improvise something on my own, and I felt completely free. But also, I felt that the connection with the ideas that I was performing at that time were even real. That the connection I was trying to, convey through my classical performance in the piano. So I found myself really discovering myself and performing myself through improvisation. That was why I started to perform on jazz. And then I met Herbie Hancock in Havana, the legendary Herbie Hancock. We had a 45-minute conversation together at the hotel. At the time, Cuban were not supposed to get into the hotel. Well, this is a different story, but he invited me, and we got a conversation with a friend of mine too, and we talked about Bud Powell, we talked about Francis Padro, about Miles Davis, about the musicians that he loves at the time, Chucho Valdés, Michael Brecker. I remember that. So from that conversation, I kind of found myself connected with a person that was inspiring me for all my life, but also inspiring generation and generation of musicians in the U.S. and in the world. So I say, well, this is a signal. This is something that's happening. It's real. I don't think that I want to have the opportunity to meet Herbie one more time, even in the U.S. or even in Canada. So this is a signal for me right now that I really I am interacting with someone that is a model for me. So he's giving me like a kind of agreement. So I have to take care of this artistically speaking. So let's go seriously through the whole process.
So speaking of live performance and influences in your life, what was the first live show you ever saw that inspired you to think that you would want to do that, be on stage one day?
That was a piano concert, a two pianos concert between Herbie and Chucho Valdés in Havana at the Amadeus Roldan Theater. I don't remember exactly the date, but I was around 2000 or 1999 or 2001, that corner. And I remember that they played differently, each of them with different kind of voicings, rhythmic approach, jazz repertoire and jazz knowledge. But they both had something to say. And when I saw them performing together, crossing paths between Afro-Cuban influences and jazz, but also, the way Herbie plays, which is completely a galactic man, by using that kind of harmonic extension in a certain way that he really knows how to use that. But also listen to Chucho Valdés performing with so much accentuation and polyrhythmic ideas and lines. I just became like in love with that kind of process. And that was the first concert that I saw in my life that really blew my mind.
Absolutely. Well, you've been down a lot of roads in your life, and you're firmly in the jazz scene. What would be your advice to younger jazz musicians that are just getting through school and getting into the scene?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. First of all, I might say that instead of listening to the contemporary people today, to the contemporary musicians today, go back to the tradition, go back to the blues, go back to Art Tatum, go back to the first person that basically, made the the basics on the table, on the table before trying to understand people for today. Why I say that? Most of the time, students they are they're in love with the contemporary guys today, Bram Maldau or I don't know, or DJ Ayer or Jason Moran. They are all great players that I love. But I might say, why don't ask themselves about how these contemporary guys became what they are today? So they were doing homework. They were doing their homework. Revisiting tradition and also bebop, but also blues, straight piano, all this stuff. So I recommend students for today that they really go back to tradition before trying to move forward. And if they can do both at the same time and recreate a kind of elasticity through the performance and research, that might be even great, even better. But even more important than going back to tradition is that they're trying to find their voice by the end of the trip.
So everyone has a perception or an idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one that's living your life. You have an idea of who you are. Who do you think you are?
Well, I am just a simple human being trying to evaluate in this life. I define myself as an artist because this is the way God chose me to go through this path and recreate my personal vision or my personal perspective about life. I am also a person that came to try to defend human rights, like the situation we have in Cuba right now is getting even worse and worse because of the political situation right now, and the government is becoming even more and more repressive with people. So I guess I also have a mission to transmit to people that kind of freedom, that they feel free, that they feel free to express themselves, that they feel free to recognize an idea, and that they deserve more than they have, especially Cubans. They deserve that freedom, they deserve that dignity, that respect that they don't have in their own country right now. So yeah, I consider myself as a soul that came to help harmonize people and harmonize society, but also harmonize myself with the whole. That's the most important.
I love that answer. Rafael, thank you for opening up. Good luck with the new album, Rumba, and live shows and everything as we go forward. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and God bless you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Cuba, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Rafael for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.